What up, everybody, and welcome back to Tail of the Tape, brought to you by Gym Bag Entertainment, and this is your combat sports show, brought to you by guys who love combat sports. Wow, I just completely befuddled that. I don't know what happened. As always, it's your host. I'm your boy Craig, here with my co-host,
your trifling troubadour, Michael Johnson.
All right.
I just went for that one.
Yeah, doing it up. Let's get it. All right, everybody. As you know, we had UFC 303, but before we jump into that, let's talk about another pay-per-view that went down this past weekend, and that was Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. There was some other fights on that card. I know
Darren Till. Did you see that?
But I don't think it was on that card.
No?
No, it was a different fight promotion. It happened before.
Really?
I think the dude.
This shows how much I pay attention to this.
He should have been on that
boxing
card. But he was in some different, I forgot what it was called, True Combat or something like that. And the dude he fought, Darren Till accidentally hit him in the back of the head. And from what I understand, dude wanted out of that fight.
Yeah, he got pretty mad, and then they had a dust up after in the ring. But the only thing that I really noticed in the dust up is that Darren Till got single legged even by this dude.
Yeah,
he couldn't even stop a takedown from this dude.
From a boxer. Yeah, it wasn't an impressive showing for that promotion. I'm pretty sure that's not how they wanted that to go.
I thought it was that, but okay.
You thought it was good?
No, I thought it was the same as
same card. No,
Diaz, but
I know Anthony Pettis fought somebody on this card, but
it just shows how much I pay attention to this boxing stuff. This non-boxing
boxing. Yeah, this non-MMA stuff. But Diaz and Masvidal not only showed up in great condition, but showed that they took this fight very seriously and For people who like boxing and enjoy watching MMA fighters box, I don't think you were disappointed by this bout.
Yeah, I mean, they look pretty good for aged fighters, you know what I mean? Went the distance, fought for, the full 10 rounds, wasn't it? A 10-round fight?
It went the full 10 rounds and to a decision. Not necessarily a split decision, but a majority decision.
Yeah.
And it goes to Nate Diaz, and from what a lot of people say, Jorge Masvidal was robbed in this decision.
Yeah, I only watched the highlights.
Me too.
And I can't say that I've seen enough to give a scorecard on it.
I didn't see enough to give a scorecard, but what I did see, and from the eyes of the judges, what I could say is Nate Diaz, as always, is the aggressor. He's moving forward, controlling I don't know if boxing has ring control,
right?
But he definitely controlled the center of the ring. But Masvidal's shots were more devastating. A lot of shots from Nate Diaz were blocked, but a lot of shots did get through, but they were definitely, pillow taps.
There was a lot of pillow punches that I seen from Nate, and I seen one stat that said he landed 140 significant, but threw 700.
Insane. His ability to
But they're counting everything.
Yeah, everything.
All of these, so.
Yeah, so it's crazy to see them both put on this pace. I do think from what I saw, if what I saw was the entire, the story of the fight, I would say that damage and power and the effects of a punch should count. And Nate Diaz has never been a guy who throws with power.
No.
He's a guy who wears you down. Masvidal didn't get worn down, and he was landing the more devastating punches. Yeah. And I think there's something to say. I'm pretty sure counter punches count more for just a landed strike, and Jorge Masvidal was countering extremely well.
Right, and from the highlights that I seen, he was getting the better of the action for sure.
Yeah, no matter what happens, this was a successful event. From what I understand, the production was amazing for this. They said that the guys who were, with Nate and Masvidal being from the UFC, they brought in guys who were former UFC guys for the production, and they said that this fight was amazingly produced, and that this could be something that these two guys could be doing for the future, bringing in other MMA fighters to earn money boxing. So at the end of the day, nobody lost, but Jorge Masvidal did take the L as it pertains to the record.
Right. So. I ain't mad at it ever. You know what I mean? It doesn't take away from true boxing.
Yeah, no, it does not.
Honestly, because, we don't view it as that.
Exactly.
We're never going to. Even though they are skilled boxers, they're not skilled true boxers. They didn't dedicate their lives to just boxing.
Yep.
And you can tell that, they would never reach the pinnacle of,
Exactly. They're not going to fight guys at their weight class in a real boxing match because they would not win. Although I will say this, Nate Diaz, after winning, he made a good call out and a dumb call out. He calls out, obviously, Jake Paul. He wants the rematch. And from what I'm hearing, he said that, he fell out of love with the fight with Jake Paul and didn't take it seriously about halfway through training, and so wasn't really training,
I could see that.
Wasn't really staying in shape. So okay, he wants to run that back, but then he called out Leon Edwards.
Yeah,
that's kind of an insane call out. I get it,
right.
But
yeah, Nate always just gonna say crazy stuff.
He's always gonna. And now, could he be a guy who the UFC calls upon, says, hey, be ready, because if this guy falls out, right, you could fight Leon Edwards because people want to see.
People like to see Nate.
Yeah.
They'll pay to see it, but I don't think he does anything more in MMA besides get beat on.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
He did look great. Condition-wise,
he
looked great.
As good as ever. You know what I mean?
I don't think he could handle Leon Edwards, but...
No, he's old.
He is old.
He's delusional. But it's okay. And I think that's what this promotion is for. These are lifelong fighters. I think I have mental illness because I don't fight anymore. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wears on you.
It does. 100%. I can understand that.
When you dedicate your life into something hard and then you just don't do it anymore, it's really weird.
I think, and that's for all sports too. You miss the focus and the training and the discipline of it.
Yeah, your life feels sloppy without it. And if they can continue to get paid and continue to compete, and it's
and it's 100% the thing to be doing.
Why not?
For all these all former UFC fighters. I don't care if it's Bellator fighters, whatever. If you bare knuckle, game bred MMA, this boxing world, fighting YouTube sensations,
right.
These are ways that these guys can make money that they never saw in the UFC.
Right.
So why not find more ways to make these type of things happen? Also, speaking of which, with the whole Jake Paul situation, what's your take on this Jake Paul versus Mike Perry fight that day, switching up from Mike Tyson?
I did. Have we gotten a date for it?
So I don't know that we got a date.
The original fight was supposed to be
been passed
July.
June.
Oh, okay.
I think it was June.
Okay, because I thought it was July 20th. But maybe it was June 20th.
Yeah, I think it might have been June 20th.
And even if it's July 20th, we're not hearing enough about it. So that's that can't be right.
I've been listening. Obviously, I listen to the Schaub show.
But there should have been a press conference already, right? If it's
but the
be
fight
the 20th.
from what I understand, the fight is happening,
Definitely.
but there hasn't been. I think that they signed contracts. Okay. I think so. I think that has happened, and I don't know. This is a fight that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Platinum Mike Perry might not be a boxer, but he is a boxer as it pertains to bare knuckle.
Absolutely. And I seen the owner of bare knuckle in an interview there, and he's all about it. And he was saying that it's not like that Mike can just go fight wherever he wants. He's allowing him to.
Yes.
Because he thinks it's good for bare knuckle. It's good for Mike
How
Perry.
Can it not be good for bare knuckle?
Yeah. So. So it's a coordinated thing where bare knuckle's going to get some millions too.
Of course, they got to get paid because it's the same when Dana White allows UFC fighters, whether through releasing them or being part. He got a cut of that Conor Mayweather fight.
Oh yeah.
So this is, I don't know. It seems like an exciting fight. It seems like the best and more relevant test for Jake Paul. Yeah. You're going up against a guy that I don't think you're going to put away.
Right, because there isn't the skill factor, really. Because I think Jake Paul at this point, people realize the kid's got skills.
Yes.
And he's athletic and he's young and he hits hard.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going against the grit test now,
because Mike Perry can weather the storm.
Right, and he knows how to weather it to set up a shot.
Yes.
Because he'll come through your best punches, in order to land a good punch.
100%.
Yeah, that's, I think that it's the closest chance that we could have to seeing Jake Paul get knocked out.
That would be insane. And at the end of the day, a really exciting bout between two guys who are evenly matched. Yeah. Pereira is going to go for it.
And if the rounds start winding down and it seems like he's losing, he'll come on stronger.
Yeah. He'll throw caution to the wind. Yeah. And he's one of those guys that, when we're watching fights and we're like, yo, you're losing the fight. Come on, this is your last round. Like, you're either going to lose the decision or you're going to get knocked out. You might, he's the guy you don't have to say that to. Yeah. He's going to just go all out.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of more non-UFC stuff, we talked about, obviously, 12-gauge Paige Van Zandt makes her debut in PowerSlap, and, man, were we right about Paige in PowerSlap?
She might have found
something going on with this zoom in, zoom out on our little screen. I don't know if that's happening in
switching cameras on
real time. I don't know if it's switching cameras or if it's just zooming in on accident, but whatever. So, but yeah, she had a great little debut.
Yeah, we knew, she got the chin, and she might have found her calling.
Maybe.
This might be where she can actually get herself a championship belt.
Oh, and continue her, because obviously Paige Van Zandt is a person who wants to be in the public eye. She wants to be famous.
But it seems that she's in dire need of being combat relevant.
Combat relevant, yes.
You know what I mean?
And to call PowerSlap combat relevant,
it's the bottom of it.
Yeah, it's definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel.
They call them fighters.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to say. But at the end of the day, she took us a hard slap, ate it, smiled back at it, and then delivered two shots that dropped this girl to a knee, and she had to take 2 counts. And
wins by decision, right? I thought it was.
Was it a decision? I thought it was. I thought because
I just watched
maybe if you don't knock them out, then it is a decision.
If they last through all the slaps,
then you get the decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a decision for her, man. And she didn't look phased.
Yeah.
Looks like something she could definitely do and continue doing. I'd like to see her maybe try her hand in game bred MMA if he has a strawweight division. Right. Maybe she could jump up to flyweight. She's definitely bigger now. Mm-hmm. She's added some cosmetic weight at the very least.
Right.
So I don't know, but Paige looked good, and we knew that she could handle PowerSlap, and
we knew she had the chin for it.
Yeah, and she did not disappoint. So big ups to Paige, and we'll see if you have any more slaps in you. And now we got to talk about Conor and Chandler possibly being rumored to headline the Sphere for Mexican independence, and that just seems like a weird main event for a Mexican.
Super strange. The only thing I could think is that it fits with a timeline that Conor likes, so that they're willing to do it for him.
Yeah, I guess that would be the case.
What else would be the reason?
Right? Yeah, I think there's too many fights that could be made though. With you got a female flyweight Mexican champ. You have an excellent fighter in Brandon Moreno. Now he's not going to main event, and I can understand maybe saying that what's her name? Wow, the champ, flyweight champ.
The flyweight champ,
Alexa Grasso. Yeah. She's probably not the headliner you want for that event, but I don't know. I guess I don't know who would headline that event.
She's the top Mexican fighter.
She is the top Mexican fighter, but Dana White says this is going to be the biggest combat sport event of ever, of all time, never to be duplicated, and I don't think headlining with Grasso does that.
But it makes me think that McGregor maybe
McGregor maybe
something Dana would think.
And this actually brings me to my next fight topic.
I don't even think I care about seeing them fight.
I don't care about seeing them fight
after all this.
Not at all. Yeah. But people do care about Conor, so it would be a huge headline. What would be the biggest headline, in my opinion, which is a fight that I think people would enjoy seeing, and if the fight that's supposed to happen in November isn't going to happen, John Jones versus Alex Pereira for the heavyweight belt is a fight everybody wants to see.
It is.
Now, will it end as easily as the Cyril Gane fight did? I don't know.
I don't want to see Alex go to heavyweight that quick. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you need some time. Look at all the time that John took. To put on that size.
I don't know that John took it just to put on size.
No,
I think John had so much bad things going on in his life that he couldn't go to MMA.
I don't know. He came back and did a bunch of bad things after.
Yeah, I mean, he does bad things. So he hasn't done anything. I don't think he's done anything bad since beating Cyril Gane, except for get hurt.
What about No, that was before the fight.
I think everything that bad happened
the
before.
last time he hit his wife was before.
That was way before he fought.
It wasn't way before. It was that when he went to that UFC Hall of Fame ceremony or whatever, and he beat her up in Las Vegas at the hotel.
Oh my God!
In front of the daughters or whatever.
Damn, that's terrible.
I'm a hater. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the hate is deserved. Like, Jon Jones is a terribly awful human being and just happens to be the greatest fighter in combat sports history.
DC thinks that it's more likely that he's going to end up fighting Aspinall out of any opponent.
I agree with that. I believe that if he beats Stipe, the next opponent...
He thinks out of any opponent
any opponent.
He thinks that the Stipe fight doesn't come to fruition, that it's going to be Aspinall instead.
I can't say that I disagree with him. It makes more sense. At this point in time, after what he did to Cyril Gane, fighting Stipe Miocic makes zero sense. Does anybody actually believe it's going to be a competitive fight between him and Stipe? Unless Jon Jones wants it to be competitive. If he wants to make it look competitive. And then Jon Jones came out and said to Pereira, go beat Aspinall, and then I'll give you a chance. And it's believed that maybe he wants Pereira to take out Aspinall in order to avoid him. But I don't think
that's
Jones...
the bad move on John's part, because if he is willing to fight Pereira at heavyweight, then he should do it Pereira's first fight at heavyweight.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Don't give him the opportunity to beat the likes of Aspinall and really settle into heavyweight.
Oh, I don't think that's what would happen.
You know what I mean?
I just don't think that's what would happen, though.
Don't give him the chance, though. You know what I mean?
I don't think Pereira could handle Aspinall. And I think the reason why you fight Pereira before Jones is because the hype around Pereira is big. If you put him up against... If you put him up against the likes of Aspinall or Curtis Blades, I think he gets done in fast.
It could be.
I think he gets taken down and submitted or ground and pounded, and I think it happens really fast.
I don't think Tom would look to take him down, though.
Really?
I don't think so.
And
Tom's confident in his hands.
And he is confident in his hands.
He likes to strike more than he likes to wrestle.
And Pereira's chin is suspect. It's suspect.
Right. And Tom's got pinpoint accuracy and puts out dudes with good chin. You know what I mean?
This is true.
We saw Pavlovich take that beating from Volkov, but Aspinall put one on his chin and put him to sleep.
Yeah, and I don't think...
But Pereira's longer.
And his striking is way higher.
And does the same thing.
Yeah. It's definitely tough, but I think Aspinall...
I think he would have a fair shot.
I think he has if you stand with Pereira, then Pereira has a fair shot.
It's a way better matchup than Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is going to dive at them legs.
Yeah,
you know.
But that also leaves him open for what we've seen in the uppercut department. So I don't really know what makes the most sense. We've said it before. I've said it before. I think Cyril Gane is the best fight for him to come into heavyweight, and I think if he were to beat Cyril Gane in a stand-up matchup, I think Jon Jones does make the most sense because it would be the greatest of all time against what people believe is the new greatest of all time fighter. Because we have to admit his takedown defense has come a long way. He's learned that, and maybe he has some ground game that we're not aware of yet because he hasn't had the opportunity or the desire to use it. But I just think that there's nobody who could beat Jon Jones. I just don't think it's possible.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. The longer he waits without fighting, I don't know.
He went 3 years without fighting, and walk through the best guy in the division.
Yeah, who was a non-grappler though. Like, I mean, that's not the best
I don't know if I
tell.
agree with that. Remember his first fight? He was known as a knockout artist, and he won with a leg lock.
Yeah, after he hurt the dude. After he dropped dude.
Did he drop him?
He dropped him with a punch and then leg locked him.
Oh, I mean, it's still grappling. Still grappling. However you look at it, he grappled this dude and submitted him.
Yeah.
So he has some grappling experience.
It's not. I mean, but we're talking about one of the better wrestlers ever.
Yeah, ever.
You know?
Yeah, and yeah. So that's a tough call, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a tough. You know, his fight against Cyril Gane is a tough. It's a tough enigma. Like, you know, because it overall looks like, oh man, John Jones, the same guy. But then it's like, did he get a fast submission against a guy who sucks at submission defense? You know?
Yeah, but I mean, look at the who's who of who Cyril Gane had to face. Like, he made guys that look good look bad, and he looked really bad. So to me, that says, at the very least, I mean, Cyril Gane was considered, but outside of Tom Aspinall, because of his injury, he was considered the best in the division, and he walked through them. So that says to me, John Jones walks through everybody. The only unknown is the likes of Curtis Blades and Tom Aspinall, because Cyril Gane didn't face those guys. Right. That's where it gets difficult.
I mean, beyond Tom, there's no young heavyweights coming up. Like,
and I actually think Blades would be his toughest match.
Where's the new heavyweights? You know what I mean? Like, we don't see the infusion of young guys in that division as much.
Well, I mean, you can say with Cyril Gane and Curtis Blades. I mean, and Curtis Blades is young.
Still, yeah.
And Tom Aspinall's young.
Some of these divisions, bantamweight, featherweight, we get
tons.
New guy every couple of months.
Heavyweight
that is
light.
Somebody to follow. You know, like,
heavyweight is super light, and not only super light, but not uberly talented. Like, some guys you think are talented,
there'll be specialist guys.
like what's his name, the guy Almeida. You know, take down our grappling and all that, but got finished by Curtis Blades because he had made errors, errors in his game.
He wants a fight with Cyril Gane.
Of course he does.
Almeida.
Every grappler in heavyweight wants to fight Cyril Gane now because they think they can do what John Jones can do. But are you as good as John Jones?
Right.
I don't know.
Do you get to the takedown
without
him lighting you up? Probably not. You know. I don't know. But speaking of Poatan going to going up to maybe heavyweight, what about seeing him stay at light heavyweight and fight his old rival, who's going to be trying to make his way to the UFC?
Yeah, Artem Vakatov.
Yeah.
So this is actually an interesting story because it has not the same but similar aspects to the Izzy the Izzy rivalry, where this guy Artem held the belt for 5 defenses until 2016 when Alex Pereira defeated him.
Yes.
But then he comes back
in a split decision victory.
Oh, was it a split decision victory? Okay. And then in 2021, Artem comes back for another split decision victory.
Majority decision.
Oh, was it a majority?
It's damn near the same thing. Majority's
one tie and then 2 people.
Yeah.
So
they count a majority being like a little tiny bit better than a split. Because that third judge didn't give it to the other guy.
Yes.
He gave it to both of you.
Both of you. So, and then it's the same thing that happened with Nate and Masvidal.
Yeah.
So he gets a majority decision over Pereira and wants the rematch in
And
UFC.
I haven't gone in the archives to look him up, but Vakatov says that, he feels he won both fights. Of course.
Everybody says
that.
But
I do know that the rematch was Alex already knew it was going to be his last fight, that he was moving on to MMA, and that he was going to stop kickboxing after that fight, win, lose, or draw. And Alex thinks that second fight,
Glory took away the win.
He thinks that he should have won that one. So they both dispute the other person's win. But it sounds like there was some chess matches because, we went to some razor-thin decisions,
I mean,
so it could be some serious fights.
Yeah, and Pereira doesn't want to, even, it's USC, but Pereira doesn't want to wrestle, so he's going to give him a kickboxing match. And now, so the real question is, does he get allowed to come in and go right up against Pereira, or does he need like the 3-fight win streak like Pereira got?
You can't.
But that's the problem. Do you do what you did for Pereira and just give him kickboxing Muay Thai fighters, like straight strikers? Are you gonna hand him those guys in order to get to Pereira? Because if you don't, these guys are kickboxers.
Yeah.
You put them up against a guy who has good striking but excellent grappling, they're not going to get very far. Pereira got the advantage because the only grappler he went up against was Strickland, and Strickland don't grapple.
Right.
Even though he is a grappler, he doesn't grapple.
Yeah, and I mean, he hasn't defended takedowns against any type of real grappler at all. So
No.
it's tough. But Vakadov takes exception to people saying that Alex is the best striker in the world, I guess. Well, I don't know who's saying that.
I don't know, because I'd say he's a better striker than him.
He's just a powerful
striker. He's a powerful.
You know?
He is I don't want to mistake this,
great.
though. He is one of the best kickboxing strikers that MMA has seen, but I don't believe he is the top tier. He just possesses the atomic bomb.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of holes in his game, even on the striking aspect. You know what I mean? It's just that if he touches you first. But
it's trouble.
Any of the highest level grapplers, it's
going to be a problem for him.
I think he's looking at a problem with Magomed Ankalaev.
I don't think, because I don't even know that Pereira can get past Magomed Ankalaev.
That's what I mean.
He has excellent striking, but even better.
Plus, he's
grappling.
a Dagestani wrestler. Yeah.
I don't believe he's gonna stand and strike. He's gonna strike long enough to get in distance, and he's good enough.
He's gonna use his striking calculated to get a takedown.
And he's gonna and once he takes him down, it's done.
He's gonna be looking for ground and pound, not submission. What I mean? He's gonna want to beat on you.
And if he catches the chin, he's gonna bet him.
Yeah.
Like I feel like. And I feel like maybe that's why Pereira wants to go up, because he knows Ankalaev is just sitting there waiting for his moment and doesn't have to fight anybody for the title.
Yeah.
He just has to fight him. Yeah. So we'll see how that rolls out. Let's keep moving so we don't miss out on anything. We got to talk about Dillashaw. Dillashaw came out recently talking about he was forced out of MMA, not UFC, and not by anybody other than the gods of MMA.
Yeah.
His shoulder. He's had multiple surgeries, and nothing has repaired it in a way that will allow him to fight again.
Yeah, he was going to, try to make a comeback, but, he finally understood that it's time to hang it up. He's too damaged.
Said he can't even raise his arms over his head. So, we don't have a whole lot of love for the cheater that is Dillashaw, but, a young fighter.
He did make his penance, served his time, and came back clean and fought well.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
Exactly.
He went out on a high note. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Well, except for the shoulder.
The shoulder, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But,
Great fight against Sandhagen.
Oh, my God.
To get that title shot
Absolutely.
against Sterling. So, he earned it.
He did earn it. And so that's it for him. Speaking of fighters who left, we had two fighters fight in this past UFC 303. We will recap their fights, but both Michelle Watterson and the boxer dude, the heavyweight. I'm gonna say his name right now. Hold on.
He got cut?
No, he fought out the last fight in his contract. Damn, is he in the? Yeah, Andrei Arlovski.
Oh, okay. I thought they released him.
He fought. This was the last fight in his contract, and so. They're not re-signing him. I don't know if he's retiring from combat sports in general. Maybe he makes a move over to bare knuckle, which would be great for him. Or
this boxing promotion with Diaz and Masvidal.
Exactly. The discrepancy here is, though, Michelle Watterson, seasoned vet, longtime fighter, but never a champ. Never in big time. She was a big name because she was fun to watch. She was an exciting fighter.
Solid, well-rounded. I could call her a gatekeeper.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Gets a highlight reel send-off video.
Something, huh?
It's very nice and special, where
I never
Andre
seen that
Arlovski
before.
doesn't even get to speak on the mic.
Wow. They knew ahead of time?
They knew ahead of time.
That was his last fight?
That was his last fight. They knew it was his last fight on his contract. Knew it was his last fight.
I thought I read that he was surprised that he was released.
Oh, I don't. From what I understand, he was not released. This was the final fight on his contract, and he wasn't even given an opportunity to talk on the mic with his last fight in the UFC.
That's terrible.
Yeah, this guy has fought in the UFC since 2000. Had his first UFC fight in 2000. Won the title, I believe, twice. Defended it against some great people. Yeah. Great fights versus guys like is it Browner? What's Ronda Rousey's husband's name?
Travis Brown.
Travis Brown.
That was a great fight.
Great fight against Travis Brown.
Even
the
back
guy
in the day with Tim Sylvia rivalry, that was
Tim Sylvia, who he took the belt from, and then Sylvia took the belt back. Yeah. He's had some incredible time in the UFC, and they give this great send off to Michelle Waterson, which is something I hope they're going to start doing for fighters that are going in on their last fight. They've never done this before, but they do nothing for Andre Arlovski, a legend of UFC.
From what I had read, I thought they cut him.
Even if you're cutting him, why? Like, he is a UFC first ballot Hall of Famer. You should have walked out with the gold jacket.
Yeah,
for his last fight. Like,
that kind of makes me upset.
He has the most fights in the UFC. Like, how do you not give this man his send off? So that's kind of messed up. It's kind of messed up. But we here at Tape, Gym Bag Entertainment, we appreciate Andre Arlovski.
Forever.
And we wish him well in his future endeavors, and we hope to see him in bare knuckle.
I can't imagine he'll stop fighting.
I can't.
He doesn't have it in him.
I think he still fights at a pretty high level.
Right.
I think
he's one of them guys that just he can't stop.
Yeah, he can go to any promotion outside of the PFL because Francis Ngannou's there. He can go to any promotion, bare knuckle, game bred MMA, whatever the boxing promotion they created for this fight.
I think that would be great to see him boxing.
And that's what he turned to, that great boxing.
Yeah.
So I think he could really excel there. Let's go into let's talk about UFC 303. We're halfway through the show.
Speaking about Francis Ngannou real quick.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
We got to touch on this PFL expansion to Africa. They're starting a African League come 2025 and Francis is going to be the chairman.
That is incredible.
There wasn't much about it, but I'm sure there will be, in the coming weeks. And it looks like a league to build up, African fighters.
I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time. UFC has not made their way to Africa. Yeah. They have enough African fighters, and there's I know every time they go to another country and they run a card, they bring in some up and comers from that fight to fill the prelims. Like, I've done multiple cards for an Africa card. There's too many African fighters to not have some presence in Africa. Yeah. And I think so big ups to PFL.
This is a huge thing because it's a big, huge named league.
Yeah.
And, I think it maybe encourages more fighters to come from the countries in Africa.
Absolutely.
There's got to be smaller regional shows.
Of course.
In each country. But, I mean, this will be the big time.
And maybe it will encourage more people to try their hand at MMA,
thinking that there's an actual way to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's really exciting. Good on Francis Ngannou for making this happen. I'm sure he had a big hand in making this happen.
And way to get that bag.
It's
got to come with tons of money.
Of course, without a doubt. But he gets to bring it back. He get like one of these fighters who get to bring it back to their country.
And now he can go live back in Cameroon if he wants. While working.
Absolutely. This is amazing.
It's made the life he wants.
Big jump for MMA. Big jump for MMA. Congrats to the PFL for doing that. Let's recap this UFC 303. Pereira versus Pahacha. And this was not a disappointing card.
No.
We're going to start right away. Bantamweight bout. Ricky Simon versus Vinicius Oliveira. I missed this fight.
I watched it earlier.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see it that night. And it was great. Simon, he's got that pressure in the boxing and the wrestling. But this kid is something. Vinicius Oliveira.
Yeah. He's the real deal?
He's the real deal. He was damaging with the calf kicks on Simon. And Simon couldn't find the range. And he worked him all 3 rounds. And he hurt him in the second round and the third round. Almost finished him late.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's good at getting those late round finishes.
Legitimate prospect, that kid.
That's awesome. Look forward to seeing him in the future. Men's flyweight bout, Rai Saruya versus Carlos Hernandez, and Rai Saruya gets the victory.
I didn't see that one.
I did not see this. This was a unanimous decision. And then, like we talked about, in the heavyweight bout, Andrei Arlovski fighting Martin Buddha.
It was a snooze fest.
Snooze fest.
Yeah.
I figured as much. And then,
but I think it was because Buddha was just laying on him.
Yeah.
You know?
So it was one of those
Andre
things.
allowed it, and they just hugged on the cage and traded underhooks and knees to the leg. And so
what a bad fight for your last. Why not
Yeah.
set him up with something nice? A nice striker's delight, you know? All right, for the main event of the early prelims, we got Michelle Waterson Gomez facing Jillian Roberts in her, and this is Michelle Waterson's farewell fight, and it did not go her way.
No, total domination for Jillian. Couldn't get the finish. She was searching for it the whole time, trying to get a submission.
But that just shows to Michelle Waterson's toughness.
Yeah, I mean, and her experience to get out of certain positions, you know, to stop the arm bars that were pretty close,
Yeah.
the guillotine that was pretty close, and yeah, she beat her up, though.
Beat her up bad. She looked bad. And, like, that's the thing. Michelle Waterson's one of those fighters, like, you know she's not, like, super elite, but you hate to see her lose.
Yeah.
But I really like Jillian Robinson, and she's really showing something.
Yeah, Michelle Waterson, I was just a good spirit, you know, to see out there. And that was quite a send-off.
It was.
That kind of had me a little choked up for a second. I felt bad for her.
It was,
you know?
the UFC did that right, and I am hoping that this is the future of retirement
But do it for the men, too. Like, don't make it a woman's thing.
Yeah, make it an everybody thing. Everybody who retires from the UFC, like, I'm talking about, like, you know, seasoned vets.
Right.
Like, I don't care if you're the best fighter or a mid fighter. If you're a seasoned vet, you've given your all to the UFC, you should get a send off like that.
Yeah, Arlovski should have got a send-off.
Yeah, he should have got a send off. All right. Performance of the night in the opening fight of the prelims, bantamweight bout, Peyton Talbot versus Giannis Gamori, and this was awesome.
Yeah, Gamori being crazy. Like, starts off with a spinning roundhouse, and then just looking for a jumping knee.
Yeah.
And Peyton just settled in, pumped a couple jabs, throws one leg kick, throws a jab, and Gamori let the jab come in and tried to counter it with a body kick. It looked like he was going for.
Yeah, it did.
But the right hand came right after the jab, and he stepped right into it.
The amount of confidence Peyton stands in front of another man with, like, there are fighters who look confident in a fight, but then there are fighters like Peyton, guys like young, like early day Connor, who just stand in front of another guy with no worry in the world. You got guys like Sean Strickland who stand in front of people but look nervous doing it, but still march forward.
Right.
But guys like Talbot who just, they march forward with disbelief that they could get hurt.
That zero will do that too.
Who?
Know? That 9-0.
Yeah, that 9-0 will give you all the confidence in the world.
And he's dropping dudes left and right. But he keeps it simple, throws it straight down the pipe.
Yeah.
Kid's got just some good hype going around him.
Absolutely. Men's featherweight bout, Charles Jourdain versus Gene Silva. And, man, did this not go Jourdain's way either.
No, and, you know, great fighter, Jourdain.
Yeah.
But couldn't get nothing going.
Nothing.
You know, Gene Silva from the, what do they call themselves? The fighting nerds?
Yeah, fighting nerds, yeah.
And
I love it.
And he landed some big explosive stuff and finished him with an uppercut. It could have been a walk-off, you know, and then he throws one more. Seemed like a real nice guy, too.
Absolutely.
Seemed pretty cool. Missed weight by 2 pounds, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
You hate to see that.
Yeah.
And then fight of the night, which I did agree with, in the featherweight bout, men's featherweight bout, Cub Swanson versus Andre Touchy-Feely.
Great fight.
Great fight. Exciting fight.
Yeah, just all around the whole time. It never let up. You know what I mean? It was chess match back and forth. Both guys going for it. Both guys going for it late, knowing that it could be decided in that last round.
Feely needing this after getting slept by Dan Ige. This was just an all around awesome bout.
It's great.
And both guys gave it their all. They're always exciting to watch, and we got everything we could ask for. We won, like I said last week. Not last week.
I can't even remember who won. Who was it?
Oh, it went to Feely for a split decision.
Split decision.
Yeah. But like I said, this was one of those fights. It didn't matter who win, we win.
Yeah.
And that was 100% the case. And then with the main event of the prelims going to Joe Pfeiffer and Marc-Andre Baralt, and this was a KO victory for Pfeiffer.
Yeah, Barrialt, it's got like a herky-jerky style, and Pfeiffer's smooth and athletic and explosive. Lands a big one early and poured it on. That was all she wrote.
Yeah, and he kind of gave that classic, he was dealing with some sort of injury or sickness or whatever before his last fight when he lost. He's
But this is my, my breakout. I'm going to be better from now on.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how that goes. But he did look good.
And be humble.
Exactly.
But yeah, he did. He exploded well. But Barrialt was outmatched.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, and then to start the main event in the welterweight bout, Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Paige.
This fight was a bit of a letdown for sure.
I have to go further than that and say this was least of the night, and here's the reason why. Like, I'm not the toughest dude in the world, but I do consider myself to be a man's man. I know you consider yourself to be a man's man. Yeah. If you're gonna run your mouth and say I'm the better, faster, more elite striker than you, prove that.
Yeah, or at least do some striking.
Yeah,
right.
And I get it. You gotta win a fight.
Yeah, so don't talk it up like that, like you said. You know what I mean? I see nothing wrong with being like, why am I going to dance around with this dude? I'm better on the ground. I'm taking him down.
I know I could beat him on the ground because he's proven that he's whack down there.
Right.
I'm elite down there.
Right.
I'm going to get him.
And another thing, do something on the ground, Ian Gary. Don't just lay and pray stuff.
Also, do something on the ground, Michael Venom Paige. You know that's the hole in your game. Why are you not getting a great
those holes
grappling
big,
coach?
Though,
I will say though,
some of the positions he found himself in, or some of the things that he tried to do to escape a position, I'm like, come on.
I don't think it didn't look like he tried much anything. I will say this. Super big props for not getting rear naked choked in the first round. Absolutely. That was in. Yeah. It was in, and it was in deep, and he got out of it. So I thought that was super impressive. Yeah. But like at the end of the third round, he's on your back, up above your belly button, and you don't know how to shake a guy off.
That's what I mean. He doesn't even know how to shake him off.
And it's being yelled to him by his corner. Yeah. Shake him off. How does that word not resonate?
I just feel like it's maybe lack of training time in those positions. You know what I mean? So you got no instinct for it.
It's just weird to me. But I do say Ian is a pussy. Because if you said that you were the better, faster, more elite striker.
And he wasn't looking to strike in any way.
And when he did, he was outmatched greatly. Yeah. If you put these two dudes in a kickboxing match, Ian Gary gets put to sleep. Right. But I don't believe anything else.
I've thought that for a few fights now, because it's guys like Joe Rogan in DC talking up his striking big time. And I said, it's rudimentary. It's rudimentary karate. It's not even Wonder Boy style karate. Yeah, it's not even that.
I believe Wonder Boy would beat him in a striking match. Yeah. Like that. So that's it right there. And I do think Michael Venom Paige versus Wonder Boy is the next great matchup because they're gonna strike each other, and Michael Venom Paige is not gonna let Wonder Boy just skate the outside. He's gonna trap him. It's gonna be an excellent, exciting fight. Yeah, but I don't take nothing away from Ian Gary winning the fight the way he had.
Yeah, you gotta win the fight.
But if you say you're the fighter, you say you're something, you gotta be out there proving it.
I was upset with from after the first round, he wasn't really looking to finish on the ground.
No,
he wasn't putting any ground and pound together.
Dana White said it was a draw. 10-8 first round, Michael Venom Paige winning the second and third. Wow. I do think Michael Venom Paige won the second round for sure.
Yeah.
And I do think he did enough that it could be argued that he won the third round.
I totally agree.
So I do think that there is an argument for a draw.
Yeah.
But it was a split decision, wasn't it? Was it? Yeah, it was a split decision.
It was an ugly fight. Nothing to Gary talking himself up like he's still this big hype train, but
no,
he lost it with that fight. He lost the hype train with that fight.
Absolutely.
It's definitely going to tell on his next opponent. He's not getting who he wants.
No, he's definitely not getting who he wants. So then we got to go to the women's bantamweight bout. Another performance of the night. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. And it's a TKO doctor stoppage for Macy Chiasson, who earned some doctor stoppage, man. She
was nasty.
Murdered her. She was going to win regardless.
It looked like she was heading to a good victory. They were slugging it out.
Yeah, they were.
Mayra was hitting her with some big shots, but Macy looked like she had the answer. Hits her with that nasty elbow and rips her face wide open. It was one of the nastier cuts I've ever seen. Yeah.
And then she runs out, Bueno Silva runs out to Dana White, like pleading to him. I'm assuming either pleading for it.
Please let me continue fighting.
Or please rematch this.
Yeah, please let me get the rematch.
I don't know. But, yeah.
Which we might see. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't heavily in Macy's favor at that point.
Correct. It wasn't heavily.
They didn't get going enough.
But I do think it looked like it was Macy was gonna be able to edge out the win, because it does look like Chiasson has turned a corner. She has leveled up, and I mean, we're talking about Bueno Silva, who just beat Holly Holmes in a questionable decision, but still got the victory and still looked good against Holly Holmes, who is of the upper echelon. So big win for Chiasson. But then we go on to a boring fight in the light heavyweight bout with Anthony Silva versus Rome Dolidze.
Anthony Smith? Yeah.
Yeah. What did I say?
Silver.
Did I say Silva?
Yeah, it sounded good.
Okay.
But, oh, why? Because who... Wait a minute, what was that thing you said about
Anatoly Smythe?
Anatoly Smythe, that guy. I forgot about that.
I want to see Anatoly Smythe versus Anthony Smith so bad.
That sounds like a good matchup.
Yeah.
Dolidze, short notice, right?
Yeah, short notice.
Short notice fight all
it was
around.
All short notice fights
this
in this
was
whole
the messed up
thing.
fight.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Jamal Hill versus
Khalil Roundtree.
Khalil Roundtree gets suspended, and then they bring in Olberg, and then Jamal Hill's out, so they bring in Anthony Smith. Olberg's out, in comes Dolidze.
Yeah.
Just a round robin of fighters. And actually, it was supposed to be Jamal Hill versus Roundtree as the main event, I believe.
That was going to be was the headline of the show.
So
crazy
super weird
turn of events.
But unanimous decision for Dolidze, and it was just very boring, very unexciting, very uneventful.
Yeah, I'm not excited to watch Anthony Smith fight
unless he fights Anatoly
Smythe, yeah, which is Bogdan Gurskov, I think is his name. I think
his name is Anatoly.
His name is Anatoly Smythe. Yeah.
All right, and then we had a catchweight bout. Another fight.
Crazy.
This is UFC history right here. A legend in the making of Dan Ige. So we had the fight come in somewhat short notice, co-main event, Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega, which Brian Ortega was already supposed to fight at 145, could only make 155.
Right. Crazy change there.
And then Lopez was at 45, had to go to 155. Then Brian Ortega, couldn't even make. I'm assuming he couldn't even make 155.
Or they said he had crazy fever.
Yeah, crazy fever.
Yeah.
But I think it's weight related.
Yeah, they usually put it to fever.
So he's out in the night of the fight. They get Dan Ige on the phone like, hey, we know you have a fight next week. Do you want to come and fight as the co-main event at UFC 303? We will give you the bag, baby.
Of course.
And we will, no matter what happens in this fight as the result, we're gonna take care of you, bro.
Right, and it doesn't hurt your ranking if you lose.
Like 72 virgins coming your way after the fight, win, lose, or draw. Like, we're gonna hook you up, brother. And Ige answers the call on 4 hours notice.
4 hours.
I don't care if you're preparing for a
He's
fight.
getting a massage.
Yeah, getting him on a massage table, getting the call, suction cups on your back, and you're like, what? I gotta fight in 4 hours? I gotta get on a plane? All right, I'll do it. there are no bigger props you can give to a man than a man who shows up on 4 hours notice.
Yep.
Unprecedented, biggest thing you could ever. Dana White, this is his new favorite fighter, is going to be Dan Ige.
And would they weigh 160?
I think it was once. I think he came in weighing at 160. What did Lopez come in at? I have no clue because he had already made weight.
50 something. He went up a little. It was like 158, 159.
Yeah, so it must have been a 150 fight, but they do it at catch weight, and Diego Lopez shows out.
Yeah. I mean, the kid just continues to show out.
Yeah.
You know, hats off to Dan Ige, preparing for a completely different opponent. And then you have to fight the psycho that is Diego Lopez.
You're not even in the fight brain.
No.
You're not in fight brain.
No.
I'm not a fighter. I know you are, but there's no way. I don't care how focused you can get.
Yeah,
4 hours.
You gotta get the right energy.
Yeah.
You know, fight week is a whole thing.
Exactly.
You know,
so
like,
tough thing to do. But we're running low on time, so we got to get to the main event, light heavyweight bout for the title. Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka also coming in on a short notice to save a card. They were supposed to be the headline of 304.
Yeah.
Now they come in. Alex Pereira, once again, saving the day. These two warriors, talk about a stare down.
Oh, that was intense, right?
That was the most amazing thing.
It's one of my favorite parts of the whole show.
Oh. And when Alex Pereira, you know what? I didn't care for it the first time I saw it. It just looked very video gamey. But his warrior march to the octagon, that gets you fired up.
It does to me too, especially because I watched a video of the tribal leader of his tribe.
Yeah.
With the warriors behind him, all doing that march with the paint, and they had the bows out, and they did the real march. He's doing what they do. That's their war march, and
So they did it in their hometown, home country, while he at the same time he's doing. Oh my God, that's electric.
It was quite a thing. Yeah.
So. But the first round looks good for both guys. Alex Pereira ends the round with almost knocking Yuri out.
He was pretty much out. Yeah. It looked like
10 seconds more and the round's over.
Yeah, it looked like in that first round, Yuri might have been thinking about setting up a takedown, but he never got to it.
Never got to it. And then second round, early and often.
Let me just throw this switch kick. You know?
Oh my God, and just beds this dude, and I couldn't agree more. Herb Dean a little late with the stoppage,
a little bit,
just a little bit, not egregious, but just a little bit late on that stoppage.
Right.
Couldn't get there fast enough.
Just a walk off.
Yeah, But man, Alex Pereira is such a star. Coming in, fighting so often, defending titles against the best of the best, doing it almost all his fights except for the Izzy fights are all on short notice.
Yeah.
But they're all title fights.
Yeah.
This dude is coming in and becoming a star and not barely speaking a lick of English.
Seriously.
Homeboy is when you see him in the octagon, I think one of the greatest moments in UFC history is getting kicked in the nuts and being like, no. And then knocking dude out right afterwards.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
He
absolutely.
is just incredible.
He's a huge star. He's their most marketable fighter right now.
Yeah.
For sure. And he doesn't speak English.
Not a lick.
It's just Chama.
Chama, baby. It's Chama. All right, and real quick, we got to say, Thug Rose Namajunas versus
Tracy Cortez.
Tracy Cortez. I always thought her name began with C.
Yes.
Tracy Cortez Fight Night this Saturday. Make sure you guys watch that.
It was originally who? Because Tracy Cortez is stepping in. It was
for Macy Barber.
Macy Barber.
Dang.
Because that was the fight for the for the
number one contender, and this is still gonna be it.
Right.
And we had a segment for you guys called "Tale of the Titan," and we didn't plan for it.
We should introduce it next week, right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning.
Right.
We have a new segment for you guys. Let me just break it down real quick. It's gonna be called "Tale of the Titan," where we pay homage to historic fighters in all aspects of combat sports. Mike here is going to do his research, which he doesn't have to do much because he is
love history,
connoisseur of
and I love combat sports for my whole life. So
he knows these guys, so he has people lined up. And we're also going to try to throw in a segment called the combat callback, where we show a highlight of historic fights. So we got some new stuff coming for you guys. We're really excited. We wanted to get one of them this week.
MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, or boxing.
Even wrestling. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got all that stuff coming for you.
You just put a great thought in my mind for an Olympic wrestler.
Don't miss out. Cage Titan 66 going down July 20th. One of the fighters fighting might be coming to interview, so I'm not going to say who it is just in case he doesn't.
Right.
But that's all we have this week. We'll get some other stuff in next week. And until then, have a good night.
Peace.